Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Darkness in Dublin, a Vampire Masquerade venue. Tonight, we set the scene in the Leo's restaurant, Francis's restaurant, that he's been buying out. And is being renovated and shall be reopened at a later date. There's the terminal moon. With its eerie glow looms above the sky. This time accompanied by comforting rain. So like most nights in Dublin, just the rain makes it feel even cozier. And Anais, Vokalin, has been invited to this restaurant to settle business at the Seneschal. And potentially find herself their signature on a list that she very rapidly needs completed. You will be informed there is a back door for you, although the restaurant is by and large closed. So there is no risk of mortal spotting you. The only real obstacle before Anais is a security camera. The horror. The wanton horror.
Oh dear. Yeah. Anais will make her way from the actually sort of empty shop. It's not necessarily empty. There are boxes that have been starting to appear during the day, but they're not unpacked yet because the uncertainty of her being able to stay in the city, she has not yet. She's not yet unpacked. She's just leaving the boxes where they are. Um, the two cats that she owns are kind of circling around the boxes, sniffing at them, inspecting them, curious as always. And she will put on her very long black cloak, pull the hood over her head as per usual, and disappears through the door into a small street at which this shop is lying, and will stick to the shadows, avoid the busier areas of town, but prefer to take like back roads and things like that, always staying as far away from the lanterns and the lights of windows and people as possible until, after a few detours and whatnot, stops to avoid a large group passing by. She will appear at the back of the restaurant. Will keep her head still like low, actually sort of hunching almost to make herself appear just ever so slightly smaller, and with her hair tucked away safely within the hood, she will make her entrance through the back door, carefully, very slowly lowering the door handle just to not make sure that she does not necessarily make any unexpected noises. And she'll lightly close the door behind her. And walks to the front, because that's where she will expect Francis to be. He moves through like the kitchen and everything, and then yeah,
Yeah,
just walks around.
everything is kind of immaculately placed. In fact, it kind of given given the Kiyasi culture and their very sort of specific sensibilities, um, it's it's quite reassuring to see everything placed where it should be, entirely um, spick and span, clean and tidy.
Yeah, she will actually
Uh,
enjoy that walk through the kitchen.
mm,
It reminds her of a almost like because after all, cooking and alchemy has a lot of relatable.
parallels. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, she actually will enjoy this kitchen as she's walking through it, but she will not stop actually and think or stop and inspect or even stop and dream. She just slowly continues.
Um, yeah, Francis is waiting at the front. He's just sitting on a table, a bit more open. Then he usually finds a corner for himself when discussing business like this, but there's nobody here. Um, so he's sitting on a table, um, sort of comfortable ambient lighting on. Um, and he's just sitting there. He has some wine. He's poured for himself. There's actually a glass there for you as well.
Aw. And he will walk up from the kitchen. Is he sitting with his back towards the kitchen or with his front?
Um, it's kind of off to his it's kind of off to his side, really.
Okay. She'll make sure to, walk around so that she will approach him from the front. So how big the windows are there and are they covered or not? Like in the front of the restaurant.
Um, hmm. I would say they're adequately darkened
Okay.
or covered, not darkened, like they're not
Hmm.
tinted. But the curtains have been closed. There aren't
Okay.
that many windows. This place is kind of, I think, it's built into a marketplace or something.
Hmm.
So there aren't actually that many windows, if I recall. But a few exist have had their curtains closed. And the curtains exist obviously on the inside, so it's not like people can just pull on them or anything silly.
No, I can imagine. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, and I will move from the kitchen, like I said, to the front of Francis so that you will approach him, not from behind, not from the side, but from a place where he can see. And she will lower her hood as she notices all the curtains being pulled. Um, because, in the end, it is disrespectful to walk with your hood on in someone else's home. So she'll lower it, and her hair kind of escapes from the hood and then kind of pours out over her shoulders as she in the same speed as she walked through the kitchen. So just slowly, um, almost dreamlike, but not quite. There is purpose in her step. And she'll walk up to his table and will bow politely. Bonne nuit. It is an honor to be welcomed here.
Bonne nuit, madame. Hope the evening finds you well.
as well as to be expected. I hope the day has given you pleasant dreams.
Certainly not bad ones in spite of the circumstances. Although we've had a spot of good weather recently, so perhaps it has brightened my mood.
I heard many things about Dublin and the rain, but I have not had the luxury of being here long enough to experience it myself.
Well, in Dublin, much like much like across the pond, it rains often and hard. But I find it is quite cozy.
A veil to hide behind. She's actually still sort of standing, but since Francis is A, not standing up, B, not offering her a seat, or even saying that she can sit, she will just, make a gesture to the chair. May I?
He just gestures to the seat as if you may.
She'll sit down. Well, actually, take off her cloak. I am very grateful for your invitation. It is quite a hmm, aesthetically pleasing place.
Well, I'm glad you think as such, although I consider it merely adequate. Master Delano and Don Giovanni's restaurants, respectively, are le- very much leagues above my own. So I'm
May I
glad that
ask,
I have a seat at their respective industry.
to satisfy my curiosity, um, why did you choose to open a restaurant?
Oh, I did not open this restaurant. I have humanity to thank for this great blessing. This was a successful venture long before I arrived within Dublin. Although I have adopted it to assist and improve. But
You have a
it
fascination
was,
for food?
oh, pardon?
You have a fascination for food?
I enjoy food, although I'd not say I'm a particularly talented caterer.
Mm.
It is not my art nor my niche. But I do appreciate fine creations where they may be found.
One does not have to be a master of the art to enjoy it, or to be a connoisseur.
I think that very accurately defines me. Connoisseur, at least in regards to this place. What of yourself?
I am not a master of the art in cooking, no.
But I'm sure you have your talents.
Do we not all? Even if they are sometimes hidden. We all became kindred for a reason. I've been playing in the desert too long. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll leave the mistake be.
And you know that mistake wouldn't have mattered, but you're from a Sabat bloodline.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, you can call her out on that. You can ask her about it. It's fine, yo.
He just raises an eyebrow.
My apologies. Old habits, they die hard, especially amongst our kind.
Old habits die hard indeed. But I think if you will discover anything within Dublin is that it forces you to adapt to the times. He says this with a rather knowing tone.
I am looking forward to the experience. Change can be good. It can be unexpected, which hmm, I like surprises. Not all of them, though. I do not like chaos, but a mystery can be interesting.
No shortage of mysteries within Dublin.
There is a mystery behind every door and every face. Some doors are open and you can look inside, just like some faces are open doors.
That may be so. But it is also not why you are here, is it?
Indeed, it is not. Although I like to philosophize? No. I like to ponder over things with like-minded people. I have yet to find them in the city. Consider this a first step.
Hmm.
But no, do forgive me, my seneschal. I will come to the point.
He gestures for you to continue. He's just sipping on his wine. He seems to enjoy it.
Anais will actually, she will look at the glass in front of her. Not quite sure if it's filled or not. Doesn't matter. She will just kind of hold it in her hands and just seems to be softly stroking like the glass or crystal or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it
Seems
is
to be
filled.
and she seems to just enjoy kind of the reflection of the few lights that are there within the glass. She does not sip from it though. I, of course, do not need to tell you the decree that the princess ordered yesterday night. You were present.
Yes.
I am aware that you are not a primogen, so I would not need your approval to stay within the city per se, but you are someone who holds what many would refer to as a seat of power within the city. And although I do not need your approval, it is an extra step that I am willing to take. I am interested how to earn such an approval. How do I prove to the Seneschal of Dublin that I am who I say I am, and that I am not someone who would stab him in the back?
Francis. takes a moment. As the player considers the best plot to throw, the best plot well to throw her down. One involving a black box, the other involving a black hand operative. There is an individual. Who's been quite a nuisance. Very smart individual, but very dangerous one.
Anais is gonna activate her folder roll.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case, you know?
An individual by the name of Spectre. Does Anais have sabbatical?
I was not allowed to purchase any lore at character creation, so it depends on what the storyteller Evan has given me. I will look it up now.
Well, if you're allowed to purchase law, you just get all the law. Every law.
True. I mean, within reason. I'm not unreasonable usually. No, I have vampire lore.
Okay, you have no idea who the Spectre is.
Mm-hmm.
Nosferatu, and a member of the Sabbat. Noted member, Black Hand operative. He has been hounding me for a very long period of time. Far back as Victorian Paris. He and I have something of a history, and it's caused him to act out on his own. He has made his face known within Dublin specifically to antagonize me. He's done quite a good job at it. He's endangered a significant number of kindred within the city, including almost destroying the Tremere Primogen. Although I am happy to say that he failed in this.
That is very fortunate indeed. As there is actually a slight bit of blood dripping from her nose. As if she would get a blood nose. Bleeding nose.
Sorry, what did Anais say?
That was quite fortunate indeed. I mean, you can't expect Casey to like a Tremere.
Why not?
I mean,
It's not like they care about each other.
she'll just, wipe it away with like one of her fingers. She did actually take off her gloves as well. Let me put that in there.
My apologies, but are you quite all right? You appear to be suffering from some sort of aneurysm.
She'll turn off her folder. It's going to be one of those scenes. God damn it. And she'll just state, it is a side effect I have had since I became what I am today. I've had it since I was a fledgling. It is no problem.
Francis gives you a look that is mostly a very hands-off gesture, but betrays just a hint of suspicion.
I mean, you can roll whether it's lie. It's not.
You'll roll.
Mm-hmm.
You said you came here for revenge against the Sabbat, yes?
Oui.
You are quite late.
Well, it was the news that I heard of your crushing victory here in Ireland that made me decide that this was the place where I could at least start my revenge.
That is fascinating, given that France is quite populated with the Sabbat as of right now.
Sorry?
He says that is fascinating, given that France is quite populated with the Sabbat as of right now.
Yes, but as I am planning my revenge on the Sabbat would most likely have plans for me as well that I would not prefer to see executed.
Would not surprise me.
Hmm. The feeling of hate is mutual at this point.
It often is with the Sabbats. However, I recall a statement from you at a prior gathering. I believe you stated that your mind was an open book.
If the prince wished to examine my mind to see if I am who I say I am, then indeed it is.
I was going to ask how far you're willing to take that statement so as to prove your authenticity.
Hmm. I would like to know what someone is about to do with my mind. I am, after all, a creature driven by curiosity.
And clearly of wariness. Which is understandable enough. Well, I think you'll be happy to hear that I am a man of limited but specific talents. So you need worry little. I would merely examine your mind so that I can authenticate your words, your reasons for being here, and your intent.
And would your examining of my mind count as the prince examining my mind? Or would he do it all over again?
I believe my examination would prove more than sufficient. Of course, should the prince require a second examination for his own purposes, I would nonetheless expect cooperation.
And naturally so. After all, I did not come here to be chased away like a dog.
No, no. I do not need to read minds to understand that you've been chased far enough already. How does she respond to that, by the way?
Let me roll her subterfuge to just, keep her face just, as cool, calm, and collected as possible.
Okay, I'm going to turn on aspects here.
That's fine. I really only have 4 dice for this.
And you'll score successes on every one.
I mean, do you even know me, Chris?
Roll it, baby, roll it.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was still in a certain werewolf dice roller.
Oops.
Were you in a certain werewolf dice roller?
No, I was in regular hangout in Dublin.
I mean, 2 successes.
Oh Jesus, I figured. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I called it.
Oh.
That's why I knew. That's why I called that you'd win, because I knew it would happen. I'm the real psychic, yo.
Yes, you
Francis can't
are.
understand shit,
I mean,
but I
Francis
can.
is looking with his auspex on at her face, and what he gets is that her skin is so smooth and
Yeah, he
like
would probably understand that your
almost
skin is
shiny.
distinctly inhuman, wouldn't he?
Oh yes. I mean, I would give you that with fucking auspex. I can't fucking English anymore. I give up. Auspex. That's the word. Gods. Yeah, her skin almost has like a glimmer over it. It's like it's shining. It's kind of weird. But then again, she's a kitty. They're weird.
Yeah, we've already established that she doesn't shine in the dark, which is sad.
Can't have everything you want. It. I suppose each and all of us have been driven from one place and hunted to the next, whether it is by our own devices or those of someone else. In
I
my case,
am.
I would say it is a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Hmm. Although I'm not sure I'd agree that all of us have been hunted. But
One can be hunted by their own desires.
hmm, well, now you're simply sharing me with semantics. Although I do appreciate it. I understand what it is to be hunted by the Sabbat. It is not a pleasant experience. So, no, if nothing else, that I at least sympathize with your plight. Although it should be noted, the Sabbat currently within, which is very few. They seem to be individuals. The vast majority of them, of course, as you already know, have been wiped out within Waterford. We are currently, shall we say, there is an understanding in regards to Aisha, which should say much as to the scale of the threat that that figure represents.
I mean, Anais had not heard the name dropped. She'd been told there was a red lister that was here, but not whom. I will roll the fucking vampire lore so that, to properly know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, the way
This is
Francis
where
says
this
it,
is where I botch.
yeah, the way Francis says it,
No, there's a 10, an 8, and a 7.
yeah,
Pretty
okay,
sure he
that
knows.
you know Aisha is.
There is a slight squint of her like cat-like eyes. So this is a red lister that is currently in the city?
Yes, and currently well on his way to destroying the world. Quite literally on the precipice, in fact.
That is indeed somewhat problematic.
And the one thing that our two sects can seem to agree on is that we both like this plane of existence in some form or another. So this is one of the very rare occasions where we have decided to put aside our blades, grudges, and pride for the moment.
Interesting.
But if after the fact you could assist me in dealing with the Spectre as a threat, you would very much earn my approval, and almost certainly the approval of the entirety of the domain for dealing with such a dangerous figure and enemy of Camarilla. That said, that does delay you somewhat.
Before I set foot in the city, I figured that there would be a price to pay. I have time. It is one of the few things that mm, our people have
You have 2
full
weeks.
access to. I do indeed. But when it comes to helping you, I have time. When it comes to my revenge, I have time. I do not care if I get my revenge in 100 or 500 years or 5 months, as long as I will get it in the end.
I respect the patience.
So what will you do for me then if I promise you that I would help you? Would that mean that you would trust me?
Yes, although I am still required to examine your mind.
And because she's tall. She's taller than Francis, probably.
Mm-hmm.
She'll just bend forward over the table, as far forward as she can get, so that their eyes are sort of at the same level, and she's probably a lot closer to his face right now. Um, and she says, "Then let us begin. As you say, I have 2 weeks."
I can appreciate someone willing to get to brass tacks. It is refreshing, frankly.
There is a time for patience and a time for action, and a wise person knows when that is. I would not consider myself a wise person yet, because only a fool would consider themselves wise. But I hope that I am at least making a start.
And on that, Francis will attempt to read her mind. This will actually require a willpower point from him. The difficulty of his check is your current willpower, but it depends on if you want to allow him to see certain things as well.
hmm The only thing that she will close off is like the contents of her research.
Okay. I'll ask then what your current willpower is. Mainly because
Um,
it's possible he stumbles across it if he gets a lot of successes.
this is true. I spent 1 willpower last scene? Or was it 2? Gods. Because you regain 1.
You gain one every night.
Yeah. So I think I spent 2 last scene. I'm not entirely sure anymore. God damn it. Um, which means at this point it's only 4.
Let me check if his total willpower, current willpower. I do believe it is current willpower, but I don't wish to get this wrong, as that is a fairly major difference. Um, Fortunately, I don't have. Well, fortunately for you, I have very poor intelligence. I do have very good subterfuge, though. Okay, it is current willpower. Okay, so 4F1 and 3 successes. That wouldn't be enough to find your research.
Okay.
I would say that'd probably be at least 4 successes. And then like 5 successes if you wanted most of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't really. It's actually quite. We could say this is actually quite a cute balancing act between the two. Yeah, he does reach fairly far into your past. He does start from fairly far back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to authenticate your supposed life story. He doesn't take up all of your life though. Um, it's really just kind of uh, a stream of visions and images that kind of flow into his mind. So the sort of premise of your existence is very cursory and quickly catches up to the not too distant past, where his mind goes into yours into a lot more detail. Um, do you say anything? He finds anything odd with three successes?
Mm, what you see is first a young woman. Doesn't look at all like Anais.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she has brown curls, wears a very fancy dress, and she's actually wearing a dress that you would expect at like a dance soiree in early 19th century France. Um, she's sitting in the library though. She's reading. You can hear uh, joyous music played in the background. Um, Probably hear people murmuring and laughing. Then you see her a little older, but definitely in a style dress that is at least like 60 years older. And there is a woman. You can see the office gate falling away from her, turning into a female Kiasid. Um, you get you do you get emotions as well with this? It's aspects, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So for a moment, because that's of course a very strong memory, you will feel an excruciating pain as if your body is being stretched out and turned into something else. And the pain is just mind numbing. Just for a moment, it's all that kind of envelops you. Um, that's like basically the first about what 100 years of her life. That you just see in kind of those three flashes, because you said you were focusing more attention on like the later details.
yeah. It's kind of where he starts because your mind is, needless to say, it's the mind of a fairly old Cainite. It's not like a human mind.
Oh, so you see this same Kia seed uh that you saw earlier, who dropped her obfuscate. Uh, and you see Anais, as the woman actually sets foot on a ship at night, leaving Anais behind in uh, a city. You kind of see like you've been in Paris, right?
Francis has lived within Paris for a very long time.
Yeah, so you will probably recognize Paris there. Um, did I say Paris? Wait, is that actually a typo that I haven't? Oh, might just be that I mixed that up. Nope, I mixed that up. Sorry, it's not Paris. It's Madrid, of course. My apologies. That is one thing that I have wrong in my background.
Don't recognize
I'm
that's
sorry.
about hellhole.
um, well, actually, it would probably be Barcelona because Madrid doesn't have a port, of course. But anyway, you see her leaving. You quickly see a flash of Anai probably helping out some Sabat pack in her early years. You see her moving to Bordeaux, living. There's a university. You see lots of books, and you see a closed off room with like an alchemy table. There's an entire lab setup. The room is surrounded with, or is light lit with candles. There's no windows. Um, then you see again the same room, but There's flames starting to drip, like across like the walls, and you see that before a panel is shut, and you're running away. Um, or Anais is running away because things. And you quickly see the same university again, but then from the outside, and you see it burn to the ground. You kind of feel the hate and anger flowing through you, and you see a couple of faces quickly flash. Nothing that you really would recognize. Some of them you see as they turn into ash, and some of them they stay. Um, and again, you see Madrid, and you start to witness a fight uh, between a couple of individuals, and you are amongst them, fighting one other, very like more powerful than they are. Um, but ultimately, this individual gets ashed, and the ones that remain standing that were fighting him start to run away. And finally, you see her, like you see Dublin, and um, you kind of feel Anais' foot stepping on land from the boat that she came from, and a small house that basically a deserted shop that she will occupy.
What's the name of the shop?
It's nothing yet. It's just like a deserted. It's more like it looks like a shop, but it's empty.
Oh, do I get a street? Do I know where it is?
I mean, how well is your streetwise? I'd say you could probably find it.
I have streetwise one.
Hmm, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like at this point, because I already stated that earlier in the scene, she's not like actually setting up the shop yet. Because
Okay,
there's no point in building up an entire shop if you have to pack everything and leave within 2 weeks.
this is valid.
She'll lean back once you stop witnessing things.
Hmm. Francis
Place the
leans
wine
back into his
behind.
chair as well and has a sip of the wine.
She'll inspect him to see like, okay, she's she's interested in his reaction. So let me just roll perception empathy, which is not the best roll, but it's fine. Ooh, that's only 2 successes.
Let me roll his manipulation. Would it be manipulation or appearance subterfuge?
Mm, I don't know. Like whatever you want to roll, I'm fine with it.
Okay, I'll roll appearance because he's just trying to look unfazed. He gets 7 successes. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Okay.
Francis looks um, unfazed, but somewhat intrigued. You're a surprisingly passionate woman when you wish to be.
As I said, there is a time for patience and one for action.
I understand you would be described as a slow burn.
I have never heard that description, but I will not deny it.
Patient yet worth a wait.
Whether I am worth the wait is not for me to judge. At this point, it is very much for you to judge. How did you like my little story?
Ooh, sorry. Ooh. Francis can't yawn, he's undead. Perhaps I'll just say, a fascinating, very engaging, admittedly slightly detached, but intriguing. You must have cared very much about what was lost in that fire.
Indeed, I did. And I still do.
You have my condolences.
She'll nod with her head, sort of accepting it. So, my seneschal, have we reached an accord?
I think we have. The only thing left is a rather nitpicky detail of how to say, the legitimizing slash institutionalizing of the promise, the formalization. If it is quite all right of yourself, I think it would be very simple to simply seal it within a major boon, with the specification on what that boon will be called in for at a later date.
I trust your expertise in this.
My apologies if I am dragging you into the spider's web of politics. You do seem to have little passion for it.
I indeed care not for the stabbing people in the back, whether that is literally or figuratively.
I believe when one has been stabbed in the back, they can understand the severity of performing it unto others. So he just kind of gives her a rather knowing slash understanding look.
The fact that I do not care about it does not mean that I will not play along.
But needless to say, not all of us have to be so engaged if we do not wish to be. I can certainly empathize with the idea, given just how long I have been engaged with it myself.
Mm.
Yes, I think we've reached an accord. And I know this is rather off topic, but I feel obligated to say it. Your skin is quite beautiful.
When those words are spoken by one of your clan, I can only see that as a compliment. And she smiles as she rises and starts to, put on her gloves. It was an interesting conversation that we had, my seneschal.
Yes, I was quite glad to have it. I, considering you made it here safely, I assume you will return safely to your haven. But if you prefer a more efficient route home, I do have a driver more than happy to taxi you if you so wish.
The offer is most kind, but I wish to familiarize myself with the city.
Understandable. In which case, I very much enjoyed our conversation. I hope you did as well.
It was intriguing, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Hmm.
She'll put on her cloak. Until next time, Seneschal Beaumont. It was a unexpected pleasure to be in your company and your restaurant. And she will actually do the thing where she will take a few steps backwards before she turns around.
She turns into the kitchen.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And then she will put up the hood again and, put the hairs under the hood and everything. And will then again start her slow process of leaving the kitchen and moving into the streets of Dublin.
as she becomes the night. Spooky. Yes, I think that we can end our scene. Thank you, Pleasure playing. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.